교수 역량 강화 워크숍을 한다라든지 또 국제 학술 포럼을 한다라든지 하는 다양한 어떤 활동을 통해서 간호의 모든 분야에서 리더십을 향상시키기 위한 그런 활동들을 하고 있습니다.
오직 간호를 발전시키겠다는 열정. 한국 간호 전문직의 글로벌 리더십을 향상시키겠다는 투지. 예상치 못한 어려움에도 과감한 결단과 사명감으로 역경을 극복해 나아가며 함께 간호의 정신을 보여준 시간들. 보이지 않는 곳에서 흘린 많은 땀과 눈물 한 방울 한 방울이 모여 이룩한 도약의 20년. 여러분들이 있기에 가능했습니다. 우리가 함께한 발걸음을 되돌아봅니다. 2003년 11월 LA에 모인 한인 간호 지도자들의 결의에 따라 국제 한인 간호재단은 글로벌 리더십을 위한 한국 간호 전문직의 발전이라는 비전으로 2004년에 설립되었습니다. LA, 시카고, 뉴욕, 한국에서부터 보건 전문가 역량이 부족한 탄자니아, 태국, 필리핀, 베트남, 키르기즈스탄 등의 많은 국가에 이르기까지 국제보건 전문가 양성을 위해 GLP, 지포, 장학사업, 학술사업, 연구비 지원사업, 국내외 간호 역량 강화와 지도자 양성사업, 국내 간호보건 R&D 역량 강화 사업, 전국민 간염병 예방을 위한 질병관리청 사업 등을 통해 지구촌 건강한 삶을 달성하기 위해 앞장서고 간호 전문직으로서의 사회적 책임을 다하고자 하는 미션을 수행해왔습니다.
건강이라는 것에 대한 큰 개념을 다시 한번 생각하고 거기에서 우리가 해야 될 일, 다시 말해서 지역사회 전반적인 주민들의 삶과 또 그 삶을 통해서 진정한 건강을 이루게 하는 역할을 할 수 있는 책임을 해야 되는 중점을 둬야 된다고 생각이 됩니다.
20주년을 맞이하고 그리고 또 다른 20주년을 꿈꾸고 이런 날이 왔다는 게 너무나 감격스럽습니다.
그동안에 많은 분들이 헌신하셨고 또 수고를 아끼지 않으시고 간호라는 섬김으로 펼쳐내셨던 20년이 아니었나 생각이 듭니다.
실무 이런 부분에 있어서 특히 저희 국가에서 훈련을 하러 많이 오고 있는데요. 그분들을 좀 중추적으로 국제적인 간호제가 리더를 해서 이분들이 나중에 각 나라에 돌아갔을 때 그 나라의 간호 정책을 향상시키는데 크게 기여를 할 수 있게 견인차 역할을 했으면 좋겠습니다.
국제 한인 간호재단은 지구촌 건강 형평성 목표 달성을 위해 리더십을 발휘하며 국내외에서 다양한 역할을 수행해야 할 지금 이 순간, 다가올 새로운 미래에도 국제 한인 간호재단이 여러분들과 함께 앞장서겠습니다.
국제한인간호재단은 한국 간호사들이 미국 이민 온 50주년을 기념해서 창립이 되었고요. 그 한인 간호사들이 앞으로 미국에서 리더로서 성공할 수 있는 그런 길을 마련해 주기 위해서 교육도 시키고 이번에 우리 그러니까 재단을 통해서 한국에는 재단이 그러니까 한국에도 있고 미국에도 있어요. 근데 한국 재단은 NGO 사단법인으로 인증을 받았어요. 그래가지고 우리하고 이제 협동해 가지고 일을 하는데 미국하고 근데 이 일을 하면서 우리가 60여 명의 그 포스닥이나 NP나 또 박사학위 학생들을 가르쳤어요. 그리고 펠로십을 줘서 거진 40만 불을 우리가 펀드 지원을 했어요. 그러니까 앞으로도 그보다 더 큰 일을 하기를 원하는 거죠.
네, 국제한인 간호
오직 간호를 발전시키겠다는 열정. 한국 간호 전문직의 글로벌 리더십을 향상시키겠다는 투지. 예상치 못한 어려움에도 과감한 결단과 사명감으로 역경을 극복해 나아가며 함께 간호의 정신을 보여준 시간들. 보이지 않는 곳에서 흘린 많은 땀과 눈물 한 방울 한 방울이 모여 이룩한 도약의 20년. 여러분들이 있기에 가능했습니다. 우리가 함께한 발걸음을 되돌아봅니다. 2003년 11월 LA에 모인 한인 간호 지도자들의 결의에 따라 국제 한인 간호재단은 글로벌 리더십을 위한 한국 간호 전문직의 발전이라는 비전으로 2004년에 설립되었습니다. LA, 시카고, 뉴욕, 한국에서부터 보건 전문가 역량이 부족한 탄자니아, 태국, 필리핀, 베트남, 키르기즈스탄 등의 많은 국가에 이르기까지 국제보건 전문가 양성을 위해 GLP, 지포, 장학사업, 학술사업, 연구비 지원사업, 국내외 간호 역량 강화와 지도자 양성 사업, 국내 간호보건 R&D 역량 강화 사업, 전국민 간염병 예방을 위한 질병관리청 사업 등을 통해 지구촌 건강한 삶을 달성하기 위해 앞장서고 간호 전문직으로서의 사회적 책임을 다하고자 하는 미션을 수행해왔습니다.
건강이라는 것에 대한 큰 개념을 다시 한번 생각하고 거기에서 우리가 해야 될 일, 다시 말해서 지역사회 전반적인 주민들의 삶과 또 그 삶을 통해서 진정한 건강을 이루게 하는 역할을 할 수 있는 책임을 해야 되는 중점을 둬야 된다고 생각이 됩니다.
20주년을 맞이하고 그리고 또 다른 20주년을 꿈꾸고 이런 날이 왔다는 게 너무나 감격스럽습니다.
그동안에 많은 분들이 헌신하셨고 또 수고를 아끼지 않으시고 간호라는 섬김으로 펼쳐내셨던 20년이 아니었나 생각이 듭니다.
실무 이런 부분에 있어서 특히 저희 국가에서 훈련을 하러 많이 오고 있는데요. 그분들을 좀 중추적으로 국제적인 간호재단과 리더를 해서 이분들이 나중에 각 나라에 돌아갔을 때 그 나라의 간호 정책을 향상시키는데 크게 기여를 할 수 있게 견인차 역할을 했으면 좋겠습니다.
국제한인간호재단은 지구촌 건강 형평성 목표 달성을 위해 리더십을 발휘하며 국내외에서 다양한 역할을 수행해야 할 지금 이 순간, 다가올 새로운 미래에도 국제한인간호재단이 여러분들과 함께 앞장서겠습니다.
지금
안녕하십니까? 안녕하세요. 네. 저는 국제한인간호재단 창립 20주년 행사에 참여해 주신 모든 분들께 감사 인사를 드립니다. 저는 국제한인간호재단 사무총장 노은아입니다. 반갑습니다. 네.
Good morning. I'm Noona, Secretary General at Global Korean Nurses Foundation and the MC of this opening ceremony. I thank you all for attending the ceremony to commemorate the GKNF's 20th anniversary.
네. 오늘 행사는 10시까지 오프닝 행사와 10시부터 12시까지 학술 행사, 12시 이후에 런천 행사로 진행되며 지금부터 런천 이전까지는 유튜브로 생중계되고 있습니다. 그리고 VIP 분들은 우리 런천 시간에 또 소개를 해드리도록 하겠습니다.
Today, we will have an opening ceremony until 10 o'clock and an international conference from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and a luncheon at 12 p.m. We will provide online streaming for this opening ceremony through YouTube.
네, 오프닝 행사는 한국어로 진행하고 영어로 순차 통역하겠습니다. 학술 행사는 영어로 진행하고 런천은 한국어로 진행하겠습니다.
The opening ceremony will be interpreted consecutively, and the international conference will be in English, and the luncheon will be in Korean.
네, 그럼 국제한인간호재단 김미자 총괄 이사장님의 기념사로 오늘 행사를 시작하겠습니다. 김미자 총괄 이사장님께서는 사정상 미국 시카고에서 줌으로 연결하여 말씀을 전하시겠습니다. 김미자 총괄 이사장님, 줌 연결 부탁드립니다. 네, 이사장님 안녕하세요. 네.
안녕하세요.
네.
반갑습니다. 예,
네.
오늘 이게 저 글로벌 미팅이기 때문에 영어로 해야 된다고 생각을 해서 제가 영어로 준비를 했습니다. 그러니까 이거는 좀 거꾸로 해야 되겠네요, 그렇죠? 예, 그러니까 그렇게 이해해 주시고, 예, good morning, everyone in Korea. I bring you special greetings from Chicago. It's 7:30 p.m. here. And I wish I could be there in person, but I'm grateful that Yonsei University provided this arrangement for me to greet you and welcome you virtually. When I think about the creation of the GKNF 20 years ago, I cannot but think of 32 bold Korean leaders who took the steps to create the GKNF that will support the success of Korean scholars for their endeavors for research, education, and practice. The 32 nurse leaders, many of them are still with us, and I thank them. I cannot name each one of them here, but I do want to express my sincere appreciation for your continued support and action together with us. It was our conviction that if we put our energy and efforts together, then we can make the difference in the success of Korean nurse scholars, success in research, education, and practice. It is a simple desire as this got us going, and we pursued and obtained funding from Jungwei Pharmaceutical Company and Gocheon Foundation in Korea that basically initiated the postdoctoral training program. GKNF Korean leaders selected fellows, and GKNF USA leaders selected the mentors. These mentors are nationally known faculty researchers in prominent schools of nursing in the United States. And their credentials are impeccable and truly exemplary. And I'm very thankful and grateful for their sacrificial mentorship of our fellows, initial fellows. In addition, the leaders of Korea and the USA, GKNF, put their heads together and developed many programs that really strengthen the leadership capacity of Korean nurse leaders. And I thanked their efforts to collaborate each other. I'm proud to note that we have made significant progress in achieving the mission of global GKNF mission. And there are many, but I selected just about 6 to present to you as a sample. The first one is that the GKNF Korea attaining the NGO status of the
in status of the foundation by appointment of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Korea. And this unique NGO status afforded and opened many doors for nurses and nursing to generate and develop and execute global projects in many developing countries. The second one is that we have secured, or the GKNF Korea secured, an office in Seoul, which signifies the prominent presence of GKNF in Korean society. This was possible by the generous donation of Dr. Moim Kim, whom we call Mother of Nursing in Korea. We thank her for this generous donation and support. The third and fourth one is the establishment of endowment fund by generous donations of Jung Ja-che and Julbong Park. These two endowment scholarship funds provide a valuable financial source for tangible support for Korean scholars in Korea and United States. And the fifth one is the Mija Kim Research Grant, and the sixth one is 3 Kim's Research, which includes Moim Kim, Mija Kim, and Uisu Kim. And this is offered in Korea. These funds signify the beginning of developing solid financial base for the foundation. I would like to invite all of you to join us in the fundraising campaign in celebration of our 20th birthday. I would like to then talk about my dream for the next phase of the GKNF. I think of GKNF as a global foundation. Therefore, I would like to become a truly global foundation, global nature. Therefore, I suggest and recommend for us to consider making the next phase as a global nursing foundation. Probably international is more appropriate. And so therefore my suggestion is GNF, Global Nursing Foundation. And I get excited when I think about this dream that I have, that one day, someday soon, I hope that GKNF will become GNF and in other countries. So GNF, and put your national name and begin the same kind of a mission that we began the GKNF with. And I challenge the international audience of this conference to think about this and to join us in their dream. I thank you again for this opportunity to welcome you to this conference. I wish you the very best and enjoy the global network and fellowship. Thank you.
감사합니다. 감사합니다. 김미자 이사장님. 네. 이어서 한국간호과학회 회장님이신 이영휘 회장님의 축사가 있겠습니다. 이영휘 회장님 단상으로 모시겠습니다.
Next, the President of the Korean Society of Nursing Science attends to give us a congratulatory speech for today's ceremony.
안녕하세요. 오늘 간호과학계를 대표해서 국제간호한인재단의 20주년 축사를 하게 된 것을 무한한 영광으로 생각합니다. 저도 영어로 얘기를 해야 맞는 것 같은데 제가 미처 준비를 못해서 한국말로 하는 것을 널리 양해하여 주시기 바랍니다. 국제한인간호재단이 20주년을 맞이하게 된 것을 진심으로 축하드립니다. 2003년 재단을 설립 후에 세계적으로 간호사의 역량을 강화하고 또 보건 분야의 리더십 함량을 위해 많은 열정과 헌신으로 단체를 이끌어 오신 모든 분들께 깊은 감사를 드립니다. 배포되었던 웹 매거진을 통해 그동안 국제 한인 간호재단이 펼쳐온 다양한 활동을 읽으며 많은 감동을 받았습니다. 국제 한인 간호재단의 활동의 중심에는 한국 간호가 있었고 세계 각지 필요한 곳에 간호 학문을 비롯한 의료 서비스를 전달하는 나눔의 활동이 있었습니다. 특히 페루, 필리핀, 베트남, 키르기스탄 등에서 펼치신 여러 사업의 과정을 살피면서 저는 한국의 초창기 간호에 대한 역사를 되돌아보게 되었습니다. 예전 어려웠던 시절 우리나라의 간호 역시 학문으로서 체계가 미흡할 때 많은 외국의 선교사님들께서 오셔서 저희가 도움을 받았고 오늘날 간호가 전문직으로 잘 정립하게 되었습니다. 이제 경제적 성장과 함께 보건 분야에서 잘 정립된 간호 학문 체계를 갖게 된 한국의 간호는 아직은 부족한 다른 나라에게 전하는 일을 누군가는 해야 되는 그러한 일이었습니다. 그리고 이렇게 전달된 학문이 끊어지지 않도록 교육체계의 수립과 관련 인력을 양성하는 일 또한 굉장히 중요하다고 생각합니다. 이러한 일을 국제한인간호재단에서 앞장서서 펼쳐주신 것에 대해서 간호계를 대표하여 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 또한 한국간호과학회에서는 학문의 발전을 위해 다양한 프로그램을 진행하고 있는데 국제한인간호재단 역시 간호학의 발전을 위해 국제학술대회를 지속적으로 개최하고 또한 간호학의 우수 연구자를 선발하여 연구비를 지원하는 사업 등을 펼치시어 같은 길을 걷고 있는 동료로서 든든한 마음을 갖게 됩니다. 앞으로도 더 많은 학자들이 자신의 나라에서 훌륭한 일도로서 우뚝 설 수 있도록 사업이 확대되어 진행되길 기대해 봅니다. 더욱 희망찬 미래를 함께 나아가기 위해 조직은 강화된 협력과 지지가 필요할 것입니다. 또한 함께 노력하며 동료들과의 소통을 통해 더 큰 영향력을 발휘할 수 있을 것입니다. 한국간호과학회는 앞으로도 계속 국제한인간호재단을 지지할 것이며 더 많은 발전을 도모하기 위해 협력할 것입니다. 국제한인간호재단에서도 변함없는 열정과 의지를 갖고 다양한 새로운 도전을 극복하며 세계 각지에서 도움이 되는 조직으로 성장해 나가길 기원합니다. 다시 한번 국제한인간호재단 20살의 생일을 축하드리며 더 큰 성취와 발전이 있으시길 바랍니다. 모든 분들이 건강과 행운을 기원합니다. 감사합니다.
감사합니다, 회장님.
I am especially proud of GKNF's staff for their tremendous achievement, especially their contribution to expanding our knowledge and expertise to developing countries. I thank you for the GKNF's leadership in this area and promise our stronger support from the Korean Society of Nursing Science. Thank you.
네, 다음은 국제한인간호재단 김의숙 전 이사장님이시자 현 고문을 모시고 GKNF의 20년 도전과 희망에 대해 말씀을 듣도록 하겠습니다. 김의숙 고문님 앞으로 모시겠습니다.
Now let us invite Dr. Kim Woo-suk, advisor and founding chair of the board, to the podium to her opening remarks to GKNF's 20 years of hopes and challenges.
I can speak English, but I'm going to speak in Korean. 창립 20주년을 맞으면서 미국과 한국의 GKNF 사람들이 상당히 많은 고민을 했습니다. 그중에서 제일 우리가 세 가지의 큰 고민을 했는데 우선 첫 번째 고민은 20년 전에 왜 우리가 GKNF라는 것을 만들었을까 하는 것을 저희가 다시 질문을 하게 됐고 그 고민을 했는데 바로 그게 GKNF의 목표였고 우리의 비전이었고 그리고 우리의 철학이었습니다. 그래서 우리가 그거를 다시 한번 재확인했죠. 두 번째는 그 비전을 성취하기 위해서 우리가 무엇을 어떻게 했을까 하는 것에 대한 거를 우리가 고민을 했고, 지난 20년 동안에 저희가 한 모든 일들에 대한 거를 전부 재정리했습니다. 세 번째는, 그렇다면 사회가 그렇게 변하고 20년 동안 굉장히 많은 그런 진전이 있었는데, 그걸 통해서 지금까지 우리가 20년 동안 한 걸 통해서 앞으로 우리는 무슨 일을 해야 될까 하는 방향에 대한 거였습니다. 그래서 결국 여러분들께서 앞으로 보시게 될 바로 이 책은 저희가 20년 전에 무슨 생각을 가지고 만들었으며, 즉 그것은 이것을 어떻게 태동하게 됐는가 하는 것에 대한 이야기이고, 어떤 활동을 통해서 그 비전을 성취하게 하였는가 하는 여러 가지 시대별로 사회 변화에 맞추어서 미국과 한국의 그런 생활 여건에 맞추어서 어떤 활동을 했는지에 대한 일과 그거에 대한 성과를 쓴 것이고, 제일 마지막에는 많은 분들이 생각하는 앞으로 GKNF가 어떤 방향으로 나가야 된다, 즉 20년 동안의 일을 잘 정리하고 재확인해 본 결과 방향은 이렇게 해야 할 것이다 하는 것을 제시하기 위한 그런 책입니다. 사실 20년 전 2003년은 미국과 한국의 굉장히 중요한 해였습니다. 올해가 대한간호협회 100주년이고요. 20년 전이 바로 한국에는 간호협회 80주년이었고, 미국에는 한국 사람들이 미국으로 이민 간 100주년 되는 해였고, 간호사들이 미국에 이민 간 50주년이 되는 해였습니다. 역시 감사합니다. 그래서 이 2003년에 미국의 모든 한국 분들이 모여서 셀레브레이션을 했고, 이민으로 전 세계에 흩어져 나간 간호사들이 전부 미국에 모여서 함께 우리가 어떤 것을 할 수 있겠는가 하는 것을 의논하게 됐고요. 한 400여 명의 이민 간 한국의 각 나라의 간호 지도자들이 우리가 이렇게 모였는데 단지 50주년을 축하하고 이런 걸로 끝나는 게 아니라, 우리가 그동안 다른 나라에 가서 경험하고 배우고 그리고 행동한 여러 가지 것들을 어떻게 우리가 고국의 간호 발전에 도움을 줄 수 있는가, 이것을 우리가 이야기하자. 그래서 그 자리에서 우리가 그냥 결성만 한 것이 아니라, 결성을 한 것만이 아니라 그 자리에서 바로 행동에 옮겨서 우리가 국제한인간호재단이라는 걸 만들고 바로 미국에 그거를 신청을 해서 완전히 이름을 정해서 하고 활동을 시작했습니다. 그래서 저희가 20년이 흐르게 됐고요. 바로 그 조국의 발전을 생각하는 이민간 간호사들의 애국심과 그다음에 한국에 있는 간호사들이 모여서 우리 선배들의 경험을 어떻게 우리가 받을 것인가 하는 우리 한국 간호사들의 열정과, 그리고 후배들이 우리가 어떻게 이 활동들을 같이 할 것인가 하는 모든 헌신과 열정이 모여서 오늘의 20주년을 맞이하게 됐습니다. 그래서 여러분들께서는 구체적으로 어떤 태동을 갖게 됐고, 각 시기에 맞춰서 이 환경의 변화에 따라서 어떻게 국제한인간호재단이 활동을 변화시켰는가. 특히 제일 처음 20년 전에는 우리 간호계의 리더들이 없어서 어떻게 간호계의 리더를 우리가 기를 것인가, 어떻게 미국에 유학을 보내서 그 사람들로 하여금 다시 한국에 돌아와서 간호를 기르게 하는, 간호의 리더를 기르게 하는 그런 일을 할 것인가 하는 장학 사업에서부터 시작해서 10년 동안 노력을 해서 우리가 사단법인으로 복지부의 산하가 아닌 외교부의 산하로 국제 활동을 할 수 있는, 즉 국제 리더를 기르기 위한 그런 사업으로 어떻게 변했는지, 그리고 그 후에는 간호 사회화를 통해서 과학의 발전과 함께 지역사회의 사업으로 어떻게 변하게 되는가 하는 것을 아마 이 책에서 여러분들께서 보시게 될 겁니다. 그래서 여러분들께서 이 역사를 보실 때 저희가 맨 처음에는 사무실도 없이 사무국도 없이 직원도 없이 많은 간호의 그 한국의 간호 지도자들과 또 간호를 걱정하는 그런 교수들이 모여서 활동을 하면서 지금 현재 20년간의 모든 자료, 기억 이런 것들을 찾아가면서 이거를 정리한 것이기 때문에 이 책을 정리한 우리 이숙정 편집위원장을 비롯해서 전체 편집위원들의 노고를 생각해 주시고 그다음에 활동 하나하나를 보시면서 그 당시에 이런 활동을 그 어려운 상황에서 어떻게 했겠구나 하는 걸 많이 생각을 해 주시고 그다음에 이 활동을 할 때 모든 여기에 참여한 간호사들이 자신의 시간과 재능만 여기에 헌신한 것이 아니라 어떤 강의를 할 때는 강사료를 전부 여기다가 다시 돌려서 후원을 하고 또 그 외에도 매년 회비를 제공하면서 후원한 그런 모든 열정이 여기에 함께 된 것이라는 걸 기억해서 이 백서를 봐주시기 바랍니다. 저희가 20년 동안 이거를 무슨 활동을 했는가 보면서 얼마나 많은 분들이 수고를 하고 헌신을 하시고 또 열정을 했는지를 저희가 다시 한번 확인하게 됐습니다. 아마 그분들을 저희가 리스트업을 하기 시작하니까 정말 많은 분들이 계셨어요. 이 책 뒤에는 간단하게 쓰기는 썼습니다만 우리 간호계 자체의 리더들과 그다음에 사무국에서 열악한 데서 고생하신 우리 직원들과 사무국장님들 그리고 그 외에 외부에서 헌신해 주신 분들이 굉장히 많이 계십니다. 그래서 그분들께 저희가 다 이제 저희가 상을 드리려고 준비를 했더니 어찌나 완강하게 사양을 하시는지 그중에 몇 분만 저희가 오늘 선정해서 드리게 됐습니다. 그래서 그분들에 대한 시상을 계속해서 저희가 하도록 그렇게 하겠습니다.
네, 감사합니다, 고모님. 이어서 말씀하신 대로 시상식을 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 파운더스 어워드입니다. 수상자는 JW 중해제약과 종군당 고촌재단입니다. 오늘 수상은 JW 중해제약 회장님을 대신하여 JW 중해제약 구자억 본부장님께서 대신 수상하시겠습니다. JW 중해제약 구자억 본부장님 단상으로 모시겠습니다. 그러면
네.
네.
아마 중해제약에 대해서는 제가 특별히 시간을 내서 좀 한 말씀을 드려야 될 것 같습니다. 중해제약에 제가 처음 이종호 회장님을 만나 뵈러 갔어요. 그래서 우리 간호사들에게 미국 가서 훈련하는 그런 훈련을 해야 되니까 장학금이 그 당시에 20년 전이면 훨씬 더 지금보다 커서 1인당 1,000만 원씩을 줘야 되는데 장학금을 좀 주시면 좋겠습니다. 그랬더니 그 주위에 있던 임원들이 막 눈을 이만하게 뜨면서 이종호 회장님한테 고개를 막 썰레썰레 흔드세요. 그랬더니 이종호 회장님이 똑바로 저를 보시면서 우리 중해제약이 바로 이 제약회사를 짓게 된 것이 옛날에 한국에 수액이 없어서 그러니까 IV 플루이드가 없어서 환자들이 죽어나가는 것을 보고 우리나라의 수액을 만들어야 되겠다. 그렇게 해서 시작된 게 중해제약이다. 그런데 수액에서 제일 중요한 사람이 누구냐? 이것을 놓고 이걸 관리하고 하는 사람이 간호사고 간호사는 전문가로 길러야 되는데 그거를 하겠다는데 장학금을 안 주면 우리가 어떻게 하냐. 다 못 주면 내 개인 돈으로도 할 테니까 당장 줘라. 이렇게 말씀을 하셔서 그래가지고 그 후로요 거의 10년 이상을 1인당 1,000만 원씩 줘서 미국으로 보내는 장학금을 주셨는데 그거에 우리가 보답하기 위해서 우리가 이 수상하는 장학생을 고를 때는 영어로도 인터뷰하고 뭐 하여튼 그렇게 해서 열심히 우리가 했고 미국에서는 또 김미자 박사님이 좋은 대학에 좋은 멘토를 다 선정해서 그 밑으로 가서 훈련 받을 수 있게 하고 그렇게 해서 중해제약에서 거의 15만 불 이상을 내내 하셔가지고 저희가 22명의 간호 리더를 저희가 길러냈고 그분들이 다 우리 지금 뭐 GKNF에서 가장 열성적으로 일하시는 우리 분들 여러분들이 아마 많이 만나게 될 텐데 그분들도 장학생이 계시고 지금 한국의 대학에서 근무하시면서 한국의 간호 지도자들을 계속 기르고 계십니다. 그래서 제가 이 문구를 쓸 때도 굉장히 신경을 써서 썼고, 그리고 이 상은 일반 이런 데서 받는 그런 상패하고는 완전히 틀려서 이것은 저희들의 사랑과 감사와 그런 걸 다 한꺼번에 드리는 진짜 상입니다.
네. 파운더스 어워드 JW 중외제약 회장 이경하, 국제한인간호재단 창립 당시 수액에서 간호사의 역할의 중요성을 강조하고 전문가로 발전하기를 기대하시며 오랜 기간 후원해 주신 뜻에 따라 22명의 간호학자를 배출하셨습니다. 이제 재단 창립 20주년을 맞아 고 이종호 JW그룹 명예회장님의 큰 뜻과 기여를 다시 한번 기억하며 재단 최고의 상으로 저희 모두의 존경과 사랑을 바칩니다. 2023년 10월 7일 국제한인재단은 총괄이사장 김미자, 명예회장 김의숙 감사드립니다. 이어서 파운더스 어워드 김모임, 김수지, 최정자, 박주봉, 김은자 분께서 수상하시겠습니다. 제일 먼저 최정자 선생님께서 수상하시겠습니다. 최정자 선생님 단상으로 모시겠습니다.
같이 올라오시죠. 뭐.
네, 최정자, 박주봉, GKNF USA 이사님 수상하시겠습니다.
같이 올라오시고요. 김영미 선생님이 같이 올라오셔서 김은자 선생님과 받으시죠.
김은자 선생님을 대신하여서는 GKNF USA 회장님이신 이영미 회장님께서 수상하시겠습니다.
우리
먼저 최정자 선생님 수상하시겠습니다.
제가 그냥 하면
파운더스 어워드 최정자. 국제한인간호재단 창립에서부터 지속적인 사랑과 관심으로 후원해 주셔서 GKNF USA가 미국에 새로 정착하는 한국 간호 리더십을 향상하는 미션을 성취할 수 있도록 도와주심을 창립 20주년을 맞아 이 상을 드립니다. 이하 같습니다. 네, 다 박수로 환영해 주시기 바랍니다. 축하해 주시기 바랍니다. 최정자 선생님, 네, 수상하시겠습니다.
그냥 제가 말씀드리고 안 읽으려고 했는데요. 저 최정자 선생님은 우리 20년 전에 창립할 때부터 시작해서 계속해서 우리 GKNF 코리아와 GKNF USA가 있는데 GKNF USA를 계속해서 도와주셨고, 더군다나 저희 20주년 가까이 되면서 2억 원 이상의 돈을 또 기증해 주시고 또 1억 원을 더 약속을 해주셨고요. 이번에 점심도 이번에 다 이렇게 후원해 주셔서 여러분들을 초청을 주셨습니다. 그래서 저희 대선배이면서 GKNF를 길러주신, 특히 미국에서는 미국에 새로 유학 가서 자리 잡는 그런 우리 한국의 리더들을 도와주는 그런 일을 하는데, 그런 사업을 성취할 수 있도록 도와주는 그런 일을 하셨고요. 우리 박주봉 선생님도 초창기 우리 모일 때부터 같이 하셔서 1억 원 이상을 직접 기부하시면서 계속적으로 많은 임원직을 맡아서 지금까지 도와주고 계시고, 오늘 못 오셨지만 우리 이영미 선생님이 대신 받으시는 김은자 선생님은 처음으로 1억 원이라는 돈을 바로 GKNF USA에 기증하셨어요. 그때가 지금부터 GKNF가 생기고 10년 된 해였는데, 저희가 그 돈이 있기 때문에 사단 법인으로 만드는, 외교부 산하 사단 법인으로 만드는 그 기본 돈으로 그것이 가능해서 저희가 그 재단으로 거듭나는 그런 게 가능했습니다. 그래서 이 세 분께는 저희가 아주 특별히 파운더스 어워드를 저희가 준비를 했는데, 세 분께 제가 한꺼번에 전달드리겠습니다. 아마 이 문구는 아주 상당히 저희들의 감사와 그런 걸 다 담은 것인데 이미 말씀으로 드렸으니까 읽지 않아도 되겠습니다.
네, 세 분 축하드립니다. 마지막으로 파운더스 어워드 김수 교수님께서 수상하시게 되었는데요. 김수지 박사님의 따님이십니다. 김수지 박사님 대신 김수 교수님께 수상하시겠습니다.
아마 저희 GKNF가 이렇게 또 많은 사업을 할 수 있게 한 데는 정말 뒤에서 또 계속해서 저희를 후원하시는 분이 계신데 그분 중에 한 분이 이제 김모임 박사님이어서 저희가 상을 준비했고요. 근데 오늘 못 오셨고요. 그다음에 김수지 박사님은 김수지 펠로우십으로 그동안 내내 특히 공부하는 많은 우리 리더들을 위해서 지속적으로 저희를 후원하셨어요. 회장으로도 일했지만 많은 후원을 했고 얼마 전에 정말 빨리 저희들의 곁을 떠나셨지만 또 그 간호계 같은 리더로 일을 하고 있는 우리 김수 교수가 또 지속적으로 김수지 펠로우십을 계속 후원하고 계십니다. 그래서 우리 김수지 선생님은 우리들의 또 대단한 후원자이고 또 우리들의 리더입니다.
네, 감사합니다. 이외에도 스페셜
마지막으로 두 사람의 스페셜 어워드를 저희가 준비를 했는데요. 한 사람은 이명근 박사라고 의과대학에 계시는 분이었는데 저희가 그 재단으로 거듭나서 사무국이 없이 저희가 헤맬 때 자신의 회장실을 우리한테 내줘서 완전히 그쪽에 글로벌 투게더라는 그런 NGO의 사무실을 우리를 쓰게 해주고 몇 년 동안 저희를 보살펴 주신 분을 저희가 준비했고요. 그 다음에 김현옥 박사라고 JCI의 컨설턴트로 우리나라에 와서 저희 GKNF에 환자 안전센터를 마련하게 한 이렇게 공헌을 하신 분을 또 준비를 했습니다. 오늘 여기 못 오셨지만 저희가 그걸 준비해서 저희가 드리는 걸로 하고 저희 GKNF의 모든 역사와 함께 가장 저희가 기억할 만한 분들을 준비했습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 이상 시상식을 마치겠습니다. 다음은 오프닝 마지막 순서로 단체 사진 촬영이 있겠습니다. 사진 촬영을 위해 내외 귀빈분들과 GKNF 이사님들 단상으로 모시겠습니다. 네, 진행상 빨리 움직여 주셨으면 감사하겠습니다.
Before we end the ceremony, we will take a moment to take some photos. We invite all GKNF directors and special guests on the podium.
네, 사진 촬영에 협조해 주셔서 감사합니다. 이제 오프닝 세레머니를 마치고 GKNF 코리아 이태화 이사장님을 모더레이터로 모시고 키노트 세션을 시작하겠습니다.
Thank you all for your cooperation. This concludes our opening ceremony. Now we will have Itaewa, Korean chair of the board at GKNF, as moderator to commence our keynote session.
감사합니다. 수고하셨습니다. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I know you need to have some time to say hello each other, but yeah, our time is a little bit delayed, so I'm going to start the opening session. Welcome to the keynote session of the GKNF 20th Anniversary Enduring Global Nursing Leadership. My name is Tae-Hwa Lee. I'm the chair of GKNF Korea and professor at the College of Nursing at Yonsei University. I will be serving as a moderator this keynote session. Now I'd like to invite he's already on the podium, Dr. Hugh McKenna as a keynote speaker. Dr. McKenna will be speaking about 3 pillars of enduring global nursing leadership, which discusses the status and challenges of nursing doctoral education, advanced practice, and research in countries in 6 WHO regions. Before we get started, I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce Dr. McKenna. Dr. McKenna, until recently, was Dean of Medical School Development and Pro-Vice Chancellor, Research at Ulster University, UK. In 2013, he received an Outstanding Achievement Award from the Royal College of Nursing. And in a 2018 government report, he was named one of the most influential nurses in the 70-year history of the National Health Services in UK. And in 2014 and 2021, he chaired the UK Research Excellence Framework Panel for Pharmacy, Dentistry, Allied Health Professions, Biomedical Sciences, Nursing and Midwifery. He chaired the Research Quality Panel for the Swedish Research Council and numerous panels for the Hong Kong Council for Accreditation. He was also appointed member of the Academia Europaea and the European Academy of Science and Arts. Please join me welcoming Dr. Hugh McKenna.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I would like to thank the organizers of this conference for asking me to come and speak. It's a great honor and a great privilege. And I would also like to thank Dr. Oh, the Dean, and her team for making me so welcome. Last night, we enjoyed music, we enjoyed food, we enjoyed good singing, and we enjoyed good company. It was spectacular, and thank you very much. And I go back to the UK with some very, very happy memories of this country. This slide shows you what I'm going to speak about in the next 25 minutes or so. I'm going to look at doctoral education in nursing. I'm going to look at advanced nursing practice and nursing research, analyzing the history, current status, and associated challenges in 11 different countries within the 6 WHO regions. I believe that doctoral education guides and prepares nurses to become scholars and researchers who generate new knowledge that provides an evidence base for advanced nurse practitioners. This links the 3 pillars that you see on the slide and also underpins good nurse leadership. You can see on this slide that we have a list of very important people in various parts of the world. To date, I believe there's been no holistic inspection of these 3 pillars through an international lens. And you can see here that while these individuals live in particular countries, they have a good grasp of nurse doctoral education, advanced practice, and nursing research in their regions. So, you can see from this slide that 28 million members, nurses, form the largest nursing workforce within healthcare, and therefore they should be the most powerful profession within healthcare, but they're not. We do not know what it would be like for nurses to speak with one voice, because it has never happened. But we know that it would be very powerful. We know that it would be a voice for good. You can see also on this slide the 4 objectives of this particular project. So I'm going to describe the current state of affairs relating to the 3 pillars, analyze some data from the 6 WHO regions. I'm going to discuss some challenges and make some recommendations. A little bit about the method that we use. This project was initiated by Mijia Kim and myself, and you cannot say no to Mijia Kim. So when she asked me, I was delighted to be part of this. We selected 9 international scholars based on their leadership positions, their scholarship, and reputation as international research collaborators. Tae-Hwa Lee, who has just introduced myself, Professor Lee, she did a lot of the heavy lifting, and she was also the corresponding author of the publication on this project, which was published last year in the International Journal of Nursing Studies Advances. Now, at the time of the project, COVID was still a problem in some countries, and therefore it was not possible to meet face-to-face. So we had to use a variety of technology. And while this particular conference is focused on technology and digital technology, I'm not going to refer to it precisely, but just to let you know that nurse researchers, doctoral nursing students, and indeed advanced nurse practitioners use technology in their work every day. This project was assessed in terms of content analysis by 2 independent contact analysis experts in this country, and I believe they may be in this very room. So thank you very much for the hard work that you've done in terms of the content analysis. Mijia and I checked it, but we didn't make any difference to your work. Okay, doctoral education. There are many models of doctoral education in the world. The 2 main models are professional doctorates, and they can be called Doctor of Nursing Science, Doctor of Science in Nursing, or Doctor of Nursing Practice, and the other is the PhD, or some countries call it the DPhil. The professional doctorates are research-focused degrees, and they are there to encourage professional doctors are there to encourage clinical skills, clinical leadership, and evidence-based practice among clinical leaders, whereas the PhD is a research-focused degree that prepares nurses to be scientists, to prepare scholars and academic leaders. Here is quite a busy slide, but I'm going to talk you through it. You can see from this slide that the percentage of nurses with doctorates in row 2 here, mainly PhDs, range from 0.05% in Egypt to 4.7% in Brazil. In row 1, in terms of nurse density, Finland, the figure is 14.3 per 1,000 population, whereas in South Africa it's 1.1 per 1,000. When you look at it through a WHO region lens in particular, the data are even more stark. 1.121 people, so 1 nurse per 1.21 people in the region of the Americas, 1 nurse per 973 people in the African region. So while we have a shortage of nurses in most countries in the world, we have a particular shortage in sub-Saharan Africa. And this brings ethical issues because a lot of so-called developed countries are recruiting nurses from sub-Saharan Africa to work in their countries. And this is an ethical issue. The ratio of nurses you can see in row 3 to medical doctors varies from 0.8 in Brazil to 4.4 in Finland. And that's an important figure, 4.4 in Finland. I'll come back to that figure when I speak about advanced nursing practice. Nurses outnumber physicians in most OECD countries, slightly less than 3 nurses to every doctor. The US, Canada, Thailand, Australia, and Korea all have ratios higher than 3. On this slide, we're going to look at the history of doctoral education in the 11 countries. In 1967, the University of Pretoria in South Africa was the first university in the WHO African region to offer a PhD in nursing. By 2021, 18 out of 26 universities in South Africa offered nursing PhDs. They do not offer any professional doctorates. In Egypt, the University of Alexandria started a PhD program for nurses in 1971. Today, 13 out of 23 colleges offer PhDs in nursing. There are no professional doctorates in Egypt. But in March 2021, the Prime Minister of Egypt said that he would want to see an Egyptian doctorate of nursing practice. It has not happened yet. In the European region, since 1979, the doctoral degree of choice in Finland is the PhD. 5 universities offer nursing PhDs, and again, there are no professional doctorates offered in Finland. In the United Kingdom, it was the first country in Europe to introduce PhDs in nursing in the 1950s. Currently, there are 91 universities in the UK offering PhDs in nursing. The first professional doctorate was called the Doctorate of Nursing Science. It was the first professional doctorate in Europe, started in Ulster University, and I was the course director in 1995. This led to several UK universities offering doctorates that were professional doctorates with different titles: Doctor of Nursing Science, Doctor of Science in Nursing, Doctor of Nursing Practice. However, such programs didn't last very long, and the PhD is now considered the doctorate of choice for nurses in the UK. Since the first one in 1982, there are now 38 nursing PhD programs in Brazil. And there are 2 professional doctorate programs with a key goal of enhancing nursing practice. The first Canadian doctoral program in nursing was established in 1991 at the University of Alberta. Currently, Canada has 18 nurse PhD programs. There are no professional doctorates. And now we come to the US. The first PhD in nursing in the United States was in 1934. And the first professional doctorate was launched in 1979, with the first DNP, Doctor of Nursing Practice program, introduced in 2001. And between these are really important figures. Between 2007 and 2019, 12 years, the number of PhD programs increased in the US from 113 to 135. That's a 19% increase. Whereas the number of DNP programs grew from 53 to 357, a 573% increase. This is seen as a point of contention among many nurse academics in the US. In India, the first PhD program in nursing was in 1985. And in 2006, the Indian Nursing Council launched a national consortium of PhDs in nursing. So nursing PhD programs in India are very, very oversubscribed. They're very popular. And there are no professional doctorates in India. In Thailand, the first nurse doctoral program was introduced in 1984 with a focus of public health nursing. Currently, 8 PhD programs are offered across Thailand, and there is one professional doctorate called the Doctor of Nursing Science. In Australia, the first PhD program was in 1988, and there are now 35, with a strong focus on interdisciplinary research. There are a small number of professional doctorates, but the preferred pathway for nurses is the PhD. In Korea, it had the first nursing program in Asia in 1978 at this very university. So congratulations, you were the first in Asia to have a PhD in nursing. And you, yes, you are the first in many things. By 2019, the number of PhD programs in Korea had increased to 47. There is as yet no professional doctorates in Korea. So let's look at some challenges to doctoral education across the 6 WHO regions. A content analysis of the challenges showed concerns in each of the 11 countries on the lack of funding for full-time PhD study. Many nurses are undertaking PhDs part-time, paying for them themselves, and taking many years to complete. In addition, the lack of support for postdoctoral careers is also a perennial problem. Other challenges are the absence of a national database on the number of doctorally prepared nurses and doctoral programs in the world. We don't know. We don't know how many nurses are doctorally prepared. The challenges of limited cross-country collaboration on doctoral education and nursing is also identified as a challenge. Finally, the lack of available evidence on the impact of doctoral research is a challenge. We don't know the impact that doctoral thesis, doctoral research is making. We're not aware of any database that records such impacts. And yet, last week, the state of California and the state of Georgia in the US banned nurses who have doctoral education for calling themselves doctors. One nurse was fined a large amount of money because she called herself doctor. The state of Florida and the state of Indiana are also putting forward legislation to ban nurses who are prepared as doctor education from calling themselves doctors. This is also a challenge for us. So I'm going to look at advanced nursing practice now. You can see from this definition on the screen that it focuses on the advanced nurse practitioners' independence, their autonomy, and their authority. The WHO in 2020 said that there were 78 countries in the world that had ANP roles. And we know that research has been carried out to show that they make a difference. It shows that they have positive impacts on patient satisfaction, on patient waiting times, on control of chronic diseases, on cost effectiveness of care, especially when directly compared with medical practitioner-led care. Let's look at another table, if I may. Until 2012, there was a lot of confusion regarding advanced nurse practice in South Africa. This stimulated a position paper which led to acknowledgement that the role should be based in 2 levels: clinical nurse specialists and advanced nurse practitioners. In Egypt, there are no ANP educational programs. However, in 2021, the Egyptian Prime Minister said that there should be an ANP program in Egypt. This is yet to happen. In Finland, the first ANP emerged in the beginning of the 21st century, but since then there has been no legislation and the role is still under development. I mentioned already that in Finland it has a large nurse-to-population ratio, 14.3 nurses per 1,000 individuals in Finland. And this high ratio means that nurses have taken on, almost by accident, new roles where they have expanded what they do. And this has contributed to confusion about ANP in Finland. In the UK, they were introduced in 1990. And advanced nursing practice was fraught with problems. Leary et al. Undertook research and found out that there were 595 different job titles for advanced nurse practitioners in the UK. This has led to a lot of confusion, and since then they have become better defined. And now an ANP must have completed a master's program in the relevant area of practice. ANPs are not legislated for or regulated in Brazil. However, a discussion about the role has been initiated by the Federal Council of Nurses there. And in Canada, we have 6,600 ANPs, and they are recognized as having 2 distinct roles: clinical nurse specialists and nurse practitioner. The former are registered nurses who hold a master's or a doctoral qualification and have expertise in a subspecialty. The latter are registered nurses who hold a master's degree and demonstrate competence to practice autonomously. In the US, ANPs include, and there's a list here, nurse practitioners, clinical nurse specialists, certified nurse midwives, and certified registered nurse anaesthetists. Now, as of 2021, there have been 325,000 nurse practitioners licensed in the US. But you know, in the US there are 50 states. Well, 27 of those states do not recognize ANPs as having full practice authority. So in those 27 US states, ANPs, or nurse practitioners, cannot prescribe medication, cannot diagnose patient problems, cannot provide treatment without the approval of a physician. US nurse leaders see this as a major challenge. In 2017, the Indian Nursing Council implemented a nurse practitioner program with the approval of the Minister of Health in India. But the ANP role is still maturing, and they also have no full practice autonomy. In 2003, there was a major change in curriculum structure in Thailand, and ANP courses were introduced. In addition to a master's program, some nursing schools offer a 4-month training program for nurse practitioners in primary care. There are currently 2,000 ANP nurses registered in Thailand. The introduction of ANPs in Australia was not without its problems. Guidelines have been developed outlining key attributes, but nevertheless, the true integration of these roles have lacked a strategic approach in Australia. In 2000, Korea agreed that an ANP is a registered nurse who has successfully completed at least 2 years of a master's program. By 2020, there were 16,054 ANPs trained in 37 educational institutions in this country. But surprisingly, the annual number of ANPs graduating has decreased from 520 in 2011 in Korea to 338 in 2020. I don't know why. Maybe you do. In terms of the challenges for advanced nurse practitioners, in most places where they exist, they work very well. They carry their own caseload, they run their own clinics, and where they can assess, diagnose, prescribe medication, and treat health problems. And they work very well in most countries. However, the problem with titles still exists. In a WHO report in 2020, they found at least 144 different titles for ANPs, 10 in Southeast Asia region, and 30 in the Americas and European regions. So there's confusion about titles, but there's also confusion between clinical nurse specialists and advanced nurse practitioners, and that is a global problem. This is made worse by the reluctance of national bodies in those countries to legislate and regulate ANPs. Another challenge is the medically dominated healthcare systems setting a limit on the development and practice of ANPs. I find it sad that one profession, medicine, can set a limit to the progress of another profession, nursing, saying this far you can go and no further with your practice. This is also a challenge for us. There's no reliable data collected on the number of ANPs across the world, where they practice, and their level of independence. And the existence, this will not surprise you, the existence of ANPs in countries with low density of doctors, medical physicians, they have an increased number of ANPs. This suggests that professional autonomy of nurses might be a policy response in face of the shortage of medical doctors. Nursing research. This is a quotation from Ada Sue Hinshaw, a definition of nursing research. Ada Sue Hinshaw was in the University of Michigan. It's a good definition. And information from the 6 WHO regions showed similar trends. Nursing research have increased in number. That's good. there's an increased sophistication in their use of methods. That's good. They demonstrate a greater theoretical orientation. That's good. And the studies have become more clinically focused. That is also good. Nurses are now also undertaking more interdisciplinary research, but they need to be equal partners. Just because you have a nurse, a physician, a pharmacist, and a physiotherapist on your research team doesn't make it any more interdisciplinary than putting eggs, flour, butter, milk into a bowl and expecting a cake to miraculously appear. What is important is the interaction between the ingredients and the transformation that interaction takes place with. And therefore, equal partnership and interdisciplinary teams for nurse researchers is crucial. In the US, studies have increased in number and quality mainly due to the foundation of the NINR. This was founded in 1986. It began with $20 million US. That's very good. Last year it was 200 million. In Canada, the Canadian Institute of Health Research mainly funds nursing research. It includes 13 different institutes dedicated to a specific priority area. In Brazil, the National Council of Scientific and Technological Development, founded in 1951, only began to fund nursing research in 1969. In the UK, the National Institute of Health Research is the largest funder of healthcare research. The funding calls are highly competitive, and nurses have been successful in capturing large grants as principal investigators or co-investigators. Also, you will be aware of a thing called Brexit. Well, UK nurses got a lot of money from EU for research, but now that has stopped. So there are no good things about Brexit. You can quote me on that. In Finland, funding has progressed from small studies to large programs, mainly funded as interdisciplinary projects by the European Union. In Egypt, the National Research Centre was established in 1956, and the Academy of Scientific Research and Technology was established in 1951, but they offer very, very limited support to nursing research. There are grants from international agencies, but nursing must compete for limited research funds in Egypt. In South Africa, nurse researchers can apply to big national organizations, but the competition is intense and has led to a limited research funding for nursing projects. So in 2013, nursing science was named in South Africa a vulnerable science, and it required special support. Nursing research had to be grown under glass. So a 4-year project called the Sandrum Plume project supported 55 nursing PhD students and 26 lead researchers. It was very successful, but it only lasted 4 years. In India, the National Research Society of India was launched in 1987 and now has 3,050 members. And it plays a leading role in supporting nursing research and in funding nursing research. In Thailand, nursing research is funded by the National Research Council of Thailand. Here too, funding is highly competitive and very limited. In Australia, it does not have a dedicated funding scheme for nursing, but the discipline does work very, very well with interdisciplinary colleagues, and it does get chunky grants to undertake research, and it does well in terms of the evaluation of its research quality. In Korea, nurse researchers receive grants from the nursing section of the National Research Foundation of Korea. The budget is limited, with only $18 million available in 2020. Nurse researchers also seek competitive funding from various government research and development bodies in this country. So, to conclude this particular section, there is little reliable data from most countries regarding the sources and amounts of funding that nurse researchers obtained. The grants captured are frequently small in number and amount, and this may limit the reach and significance of nursing research's impact. Some challenges. In all countries, nurses must apply for limited research funding in a highly competitive manner. It's not possible to identify precisely the amounts of funding that nurses receive as researchers. This is because many of the bids are interdisciplinary, or simply because funders don't identify different particular disciplines that they are funding. The grants obtained by nurse researchers are frequently small in number, and even in the US, where the NINR ring-fences funding for nursing research $200 million last year, when you look at the other 27 institutes in the National Institute of Health, NINR is at the bottom. So even though it gets more money than any other country for nursing research, it doesn't get a huge amount of money compared to other disciplines. The international language of science, unfortunately, is English. And this is a challenge for researchers in some countries on this project. Of course, yesterday you heard that ChatGPT can solve that problem. So we need some recommendations. We need better data. If we do not know the number of doctorally prepared nurses, we don't know about their career pathways, we don't know the impact of their research, how will we know if nursing is progressing or regressing? National agencies and professional organizations need to be lobbied to ensure funding for more full-time doctoral students. When I walk through my university and I go to the psychology department, the average age of a PhD student is 25, and they're doing it full-time. When I go into biomedical science, average age about 25, doing full-time. When I go into engineering and computing, it's the same. When I go into nursing, the average age is 35. And they are doing it mainly part-time. So these are big issues that we need to address. We need a system of quality assurance for doctoral programs to be accepted internationally, and Mijie Kim is the expert in that, and she has a really good model for quality assurance for doctoral programs, which it was a pleasure for me to work with her on that. So given the explosive nature of the DNP programs in the US in recent decades and a decline, we're seeing a decline in PhD programs and an increase in DNP programs. Nurse leaders globally must assess the impacts of these developments on nursing science and nurse leadership. Advanced nursing practice recommendations. It's crucial that nurse leaders ensure consistent high standards for an advanced nursing practice. We need to increase the number of A&P programs globally. We need to legislate and regulate A&Ps to have full independence, to develop an approved definition, improved titles, and established educational standards. Also, more published evidence should be sought on the effect, the impact that advanced nurse practitioners have on patients, their families, and communities. I'm sure it's great, but we haven't done that research yet. Nursing research. I'll say very briefly that nursing needs ring-fence grants for research to enhance supports for postdoctoral research. We need to lobby governments to ensure that we achieve that. Nurse researchers must take on the role of leaders in large, well-funded interdisciplinary research projects. We must disseminate research widely and expand its impact and the significance of nursing's research globally in terms of policy making and policy decisions. Nurses must sit on more grant awarding bodies and ensure a level playing field for funding compared to other disciplines. Okay, while this presentation has analyzed doctoral education, advanced practice, and research in separate sections, they should and must be viewed together. A helpful analogy is that they resemble the legs on a three-legged stool. If one of those legs is weak, then the stool collapses. All three must be strong and supported strategically, financially, and practically by governments, nursing regulatory bodies, and professional bodies. When this is achieved, I believe there will be full recognition and acceptance that doctoral programs produce future nurse researchers, and these researchers produce the very best evidence for advanced practice, and this creates the best possible healthcare for patients, their families, and communities worldwide. Some conclusions. Doctoral education has played a pivotal role in advancing the nursing profession. In this presentation, the development of nurse doctoral programs was examined, and PhDs and professional doctorates, including the Doctor of Nursing Practice, was differentiated, and trends and challenges discussed. Advanced practice nurses are increasing in number worldwide, contributing to better health outcomes. That's a fact. Yet this paper shows that the role remains absent or underdeveloped in many countries. And furthermore, role ambiguity and confusion still exist. Nursing research studies continue to increase in number and quality, and nurse researchers are taking their place as partners and leaders in interdisciplinary investigations. Nonetheless, this paper highlights poor investment in nursing research generally. So if we believe that these three pillars here are crucial for the development of leadership in nursing, and without leaders, nursing will lose influence and will lose profile, then nursing organizations globally must address these concerns raised in this presentation. There are no reasons left why you shouldn't. There are only excuses. I'm going to finish with nurse leadership. They say there are 5 types of nurse leader. You can think which one you are. So, number 1, those who make things happen. Number 2, those who think they make things happen. Number 3, those who watch things happen. Number 4, those who wondered what had happened. And number 5, those who didn't know anything had happened at all. I believe that doctorally prepared nurses, advanced nurse practitioners, and nurse researchers are in the first category. They make things happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. McKenna, for your wonderful presentation. And then your contribution to our conference is endless up until today. And then due to time limitation, because it's already past 10:30, so I'm sorry to tell you that we will not having Q&A session with Dr. McKenna. But if you have any specific questions regarding his presentation, and please approach him individually and then have a discussion. Now we will have a 10-minute tea break, and then we will come back around 10:55, and then we will start plenary session. Thank you very much.
So the plenary session will begin shortly, so please take a seat.
그러니까 56분 됐는데 56분? 얘기했어요. 한 번 더.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Like, we need to start our plenary session, so please take a seat. Please.
아니 저 가운데서 저러고 계시면 이제 시작할게요. 아니요, 아직이요. 네네, 아직. 해야 될 것 같죠.
Okay, good morning, esteemed guests, scholars, participants, and viewers from around the world. Welcome to the plenary session of the GKNF 20th Anniversary Conference. I'm Seung-eun Lee. I'm honored to be moderating this session. And today, our theme is Future of Digital Healthcare in ODA. So we have 3 outstanding speakers lined up, each of whom will share their insights on digital health technology and innovation. So due to the time constraint, unfortunately, we will not have a Q&A session, but the presenters are happy to take your questions in person or via email. So please feel free to reach them out after this session. So our first presenter is Dr. Mi-suk Lee Jung from University of Kentucky. Dr. Jung is a professor and co-director of the Rich Heart Program at the College of Nursing, University of Kentucky. She is an internationally recognized expert on diabetic research in patients with chronic disease and their family caregivers. She is also a board member of the GKNF USA. So today, she'll be sharing insights on utilization of digital health technology in rural health research. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Jung.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very grateful to share my experience with the challenges and the strategies for utilizing digital health technology in rural population research. Before I dive into my presentation, please allow me to introduce briefly our research team and also the rural Kentucky. I'm a co-director and one of the 3 founding members of the Rich Heart program. The REACH stands for Research and Intervention for the Cardiovascular Health. Coincidentally, this year marks the 20th anniversary of our Rich Heart team, much like the GKNF. So I'm so happy to be here. Our team consists of the research nurse scientists specializing in the cardiovascular health research listed here. Over the 20 years, we have received over $60 million in funding for the numerous projects from the organization, from the like American Heart Association, National Institute of the Health, and the PCORI. $60 million is about 700억 원 됩니다. As a team member, I have contributed over $15 million to research project as a primary or co-investigator. As a point of interest, Kentucky is slightly larger than South Korea, but its population is less than 1/10 of the population, 1/10 of the Korean population. And 1 in every 4 Kentuckians live in a rural area, and more than 80% of Kentucky state is a rural area, including the Appalachian mountain areas. So we needed to travel at least 2 or 3 hours to recruit the rural adults and to collect the data, like from the Seoul to the Busan or Daegu. I will share the several pictures of the rural Kentucky for your information. This is a post office, and then this is a small store. It usually sells primary frozen foods, like frozen meats and frozen vegetables, frozen cheese, and even limited fresh food. And then this one, can you see that? This is a pharmacy. It shows really examples of the limited availability of the healthcare resources. And this is where rural residents dine in or get takeout food. So you may be familiar with the famous KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, not Korean fried chicken. And the KFC originated in this rural Kentucky area. So this picture is one of the famous participants. Hold on, can you see clearly? Oh. So, one missing. Well, I want to show the picture of our research participants' home, but it just messed up. I'm sorry. But it has actually TV antenna, receiving the TV signals. That really indicates that there is a gap in the adoption of the modern technology and the lack of the necessary infrastructure. But it messed up somehow. This woman is a research participant who was a very heavy smoker, and she looks like very old. Can you guess her age? She's only 59 years old. So many rural Kentuckians have a low education and then low income levels. And then Kentucky ranks the 50s out of the 50 in the literacy, the last one. In the United States, about 1/3 of the top 100 poorest counties are located actually in Kentucky. Kentucky has a very substantial health disparities. And among the health disparities, the cardiovascular disease poses a significant challenges in Kentucky. So this map shows that the prevalence of the cardiovascular disease deaths, and the cardiovascular disease stands number 1 leading cause of the deaths in Kentucky. And especially Appalachian Kentucky ranks in the top 1% of the nationwide for the cardiovascular disease mortality and the morbidity. Obesity, as you know, that this is a very significant risk factors of the cardiovascular disease. It's the same to the Kentucky. 40% of Kentuckians are obese, having a BMI of the 30 or higher. So we leverage many technologies in conducting our research in rural area. Not only rural area, in urban area too, because utilizing the technology is instrumental in enhancing research efficiency and also obtaining objectively measured data, replacing outdated methods or tools, and ultimately enabling us to maintain a high standard of the research, quality of the research in scientific area. So we have developed the cardiovascular risk programs, but delivering these interventions to rural area is always our challenging. No matter how good education program we create, if we fail to deliver it to our target audience, we were not able to measure the true effectiveness of the intervention program. Therefore, how to deliver the educational interventions efficiently is our primary concern. So we initially used in-person group meetings, but it was not practical to deliver weekly sessions over an hour and for at least 6 to 1 month or 3 months the intervention program. Challenges included the personal cost, inefficient time allocation, and then training local health providers. So this led us to consider the use of the digital technology. You maybe remember that, maybe, I don't know how many people remember this. The first smartphone was introduced in 1994, and the first smartphone connected to the internet was introduced in 2001. But utilizing this such advanced phone was not practical because very, very few rural Kentuckians used this advanced phone at that time. So we also believe that in-person meetings are more efficient and also effective in improving health outcomes. So 10 years later, when Steve Jobs introduced the iPad and the FaceTime app in 2010, we conducted a pilot study to determine the feasibility of using FaceTime in delivering the intervention. However, FaceTime, as you know, that has a very limitation of the sharing PowerPoint slide of the education materials. So in 2012, when Zoom app, the video conferencing program was launched, we opted to shift to the video conferencing for our intervention delivery. Due to the pandemic, Zoom has become a widely used online meeting platform. When we first adopted it was a cutting-edge technology in research. It's a little bit of the joke, but if we had bought the Zoom stock back then, we would have hit the jackpot. 대박 났을 거예요. However, we have to face many challenges in utilizing this kind of technology. First challenge was the high cost of the iPad. The device price ranged from at least $500 to the $600, and many rural participants could not afford to own iPad. Because the University of Kentucky administration at that time even considered that the device as a university properties due to the high cost of the device, like a computer. So in our first feasibility study, we had to loan the iPad to participants only during the intervention period. However, this raised other concerns about the hygiene of the user devices and also the difficulty of the resetting the device for the new participants. So we proposed providing iPad to all our research participants, regardless of their group assignment, intervention and control group, instead of the monetary incentives. So this proposal secured $2.4 million from the NIH. To date, we have purchased nearly more than 2,000 iPads so far. The next challenge was the lack of the reliable internet infrastructures in rural Kentucky. Internet services often unstable and completely unavailable in many areas of the Kentucky. When you're driving in the rural Kentucky, suddenly the navigator stopped. For your information, even in 2023, only 54% of Kentuckians were able to access 1 gigabyte of the broadband, not 4G or 5G here, which ranks the 40th among all states. So because of the many eligible participants have no home Wi-Fi access, we also had to provide unlimited data plan to ensure their inclusions. Providing a data plan is an additional cost in rural research. We also have challenges related to our research participants. So many participants were first-time users of the iPad, as you imagine that. So they were not familiar with how to activate the iPad, how to install the Zoom apps, or join the Zoom meetings. Moreover, older adults have more difficulty using it. Another unexpected challenge was instance of lost or stolen iPads. Upon tracking the iPad registration numbers, we discovered that some devices are already sold, have been sold, in Mexico or taken by their children. Young children love that kind of device, and they took away, or the friends. So the stolen device or lost device is a big problem. About 10% reported that in our population. Our team developed and then used multiple strategies to overcome these challenges. We designated one research staff members to handle the activation of all iPads and install the Zoom apps on the iPad, and also to ensure that the device was ready to use for the participants. We provided the written instructions and the practice sessions to how to use the iPad and the Zoom meeting, how to join the Zoom meetings. Our research staff was available to provide technical troubleshootings at any time. Regarding the lost and the stolen iPads, we also allocated a budget for the additional device purchases. We used several technologies to assess outcomes, such as medication adherence, physical activity levels, and diet and sleep qualities. Among these outcomes, I would like to introduce two technologies used to evaluate the medication and physical activity. We commonly use the self-report for the adherence behaviors because of their feasibility and also cost effectiveness. But the reliability and the accuracy of the self-reported adherence may be impacted by recall difficulties, bias, vague, and then unclear responses. So this raised the question whether their self-report reflects actually their the adherence level. So therefore, our team collected the objective adherence levels data using the digital health technology to address these concerns along with the self-report. Adherence to the prescribed medication is very important to improve the health outcomes in patients with the chronic diseases. However, most rural participants take multiple pills. Can you imagine how many pills they every take? For example, patients with heart failure take an average of 11 pills daily. We use the medication electronic monitoring device, it's called the MEMS, and to assess medication adherence levels objectively. The MEMS cap has sensors that record the date and time, and each time participants open the medication bottle, it really signifies that the intake of the single doses. We ask participants to use MEMS device for one of their prescribed medications for at least 1 or 3 months. Now, ongoing project, we ask it to the 12 months. We downloaded the data to our computer when they return it to us. So this slide displays the extracted data of the MEMS bottle. The dots indicate the time the participants took their medication. The triangles indicate the instance of the skipped doses, and the red line indicates period when the participants did not take any medications. So medication adherence rates, including the correct dose taken, can be calculated automatically as percentages. As technology advanced, the MEMS company in Switzerland also offer updated services. One notable feature is that the battery life, which initially lasted only 1 year. So we had to order MEMS bottles in small batches based on our recruitment rates to avoid the battery depletion whenever we distribute to our participants. Now the battery life can extend up to 3 years, and we also have a control over when to activate it. Moreover, the data is directly stored in the cloud platform, but there is also hidden service charges for the storage. And also, noticeably, MEMS usage in the publication substantially increased, and it lasted 20 years. And it's now considered a gold standard for the measuring the medication adherence. So MEMS has many strengths, including the objective measurement and easy to use it, easy of the device activation and also data extraction, and the reusability until the battery expires. However, it's a very expensive device, costing more than $130 for each cap, and the battery is not replaceable or not rechargeable yet. It's also somewhat burdensome for the participants because they needed to document unnecessary openings, such as those caused by accidental opening by family members. Children love to open the bottles due to their curiosity, or they open it for the refills. So another weakness is that the device measures adherence for only one single medication rather than multiple medications. So limited devices available for monitoring adherence behavior when multiple medications are involved in the research. We use the simple plus mass device on this slide, which can hold multiple pills in 4 different time slots, like morning, noon, evening, and bedtime. Family members or researchers can even monitor this medication adherence behaviors on their website. However, we encountered an unexpected issue. The company based in China faced difficulty with producing this device during and after pandemics. So we still have not received our shipment for more than 1 year. And therefore we had to replace them with the MEMS in our ongoing study. Improving physical activity is critical in Kentucky, as you see in this map, given its ranking. Kentucky among the top states with the low physical activity levels. And also, we have utilized a lot of the commercial the activity watch, commercial physical activity devices like a Fitbit and Whittington watches to assess the physical activity levels. But the downloading activity data from such device was a chaos, and it's not easy because those are not actually for the researchers. So we also needed to use the physical activity devices with the blinded numbers to minimize participants' bias or modification of their behaviors. So in our experience, actigraph watch here stands out as one of the most reliable devices for the research. This picture shows the actigraph data stored in the cloud, and then after participants wear this watch for 9 days to obtain the 7 days of the full data, they must return the device to us. However, we have challenges in getting back them. One reason was the lost device, as the same as the iPad. Another reason was the limited rural postal office service. Research participants are requested to return the device by depositing them at the nearest post office. Some participants had to drive more than 30 minutes to drop off the package at the nearest post office. And also sometimes they forgot to drop off those devices. Therefore, receiving and then returning the device often face considerable delays of the research. So we have to budget for the extra devices as well as the returning boxes and the shipping labels. And occasionally our research staff had to pick up the device from the participants' home. That means we also had to pay local travel expenses to our staff. That's America. We have shared the major, I have shared the major challenges and the strategies for implementing digital health technology in rural research. Before I close this session, I would like to share the extra tips. And before initiating your research, I strongly recommend conducting the pilot study to evaluate the feasibility and appropriateness of the technology in rural environment. This allows you to identify and also resolve any kind of the issues and ensure the smooth implementation. Please keep in mind that many devices can be very expensive, so it's essential to explore options for negotiation or discounts or potential funding sources to enhance the accessibility of the technology in your research. Please take more time, investigate potential hidden costs such as a cloud data storage, data extraction, or subscription fees. And the last one, please ensure access to the troubleshooting support for seamless research experience. We recently learned that our the actigraph watch model we use in our ongoing study will be discontinued soon, and then the new watch with the updated platform will be replaced. So we needed to reach out to address our potential issues and to ensure that the continuity of the troubleshooting services. So in summary, researchers encounter many challenges in rural research, but technology can be a game changer. It helps make research more efficient and also accurate. So using technology in rural research have a big benefits, making it easier to overcome the challenges and collect the valuable data. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Zhang, for a great presentation. So I believe it was very helpful for us to think about all the challenges related to the use of technology in rural research, rural health research, and the strategies to overcome those challenges. Thank you so much. So now let's move to our next presenter. So our second presenter is Dr. Jenny Degani from Duke University. She is the director of the nursing education major and specialty at Duke University School of Nursing with a strong focus on nursing education. She is an expert in educational technology and online education. She is also a board member of the GKNF USA. Today, she will sharing insights on AI in health education, its innovations and impacts. Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Degani.
Thank you so much for the warm welcoming. I'm very impressed that you pronounced my last name correctly, Degani. Nobody, all Americans butchered my last name, so I'm very impressed though. Again, I'm from Duke University. Before I start, I don't have any real or vested interest related to this topic I'm about to share. In this approximately 20 minutes or 25 minutes, we're going to explore the evolution and foundational concepts and impacts of AI technology on health professions and nursing education, and delve into potential challenges and ethical considerations arising from the integration of AI in classrooms and healthcare settings. The third session objective, unfortunately, I don't think we can engage this dialogue, but hopefully you can come to me and ask some questions if you have any comments. I would appreciate that. Now, to see the future, I think it's important to know the past, right? So let's begin by understanding the significance of today's discussion. At its core, AI is the method by which we enable machines to emulate human thinking and actions, allowing them to learn and make decisions in the same we do. In the world of healthcare, think of AI as a helpful assistant, aiding health professionals in diagnosing illnesses, recommending treatments, discovering new medications, and monitoring patients attentively. Oops. And when it comes to nursing education, AI is like a modern tutor. It not only enriches the learning journey, but also helps shape the curriculum and guides future nurses in making clinical decisions. So without doubt, AI technologies are continually evolving, becoming an integral and seamless part of our daily routines and practices. Now, before diving deep, I believe it's essential to grasp the evolution of AI technology. In the 1950s, visionaries like Alan Turing and John McCarthy contemplated a compelling question: can machines emulate human thinking? This inquiry gave birth to the concept of artificial intelligence, essentially a sophisticated term for thinking machines. Initially, the concept of AI didn't gain much traction. However, as the 1950s rolled around, scientists started to develop computers tailored to assist educators. These machines were capable of basic tasks, such as teaching math concepts, aiding in language acquisition. By the late 1960s, advancements like natural language processing began to emerge, allowing computers to comprehend, generate human language. And the concept of self-play also became notable, with machines learning like playing games against themselves, constantly evolving and improving their strategies. Fast forwarding to the 1970s and the 80s, AI not only gained popularity, but also experienced considerable advancements in computing technology. This period witnessed a surge in computer-assisted instruction and the genesis of a plethora of learning resources. Moreover, the advent of interactive simulations and online tutorials further enriched the educational landscape. Then, in the 1990s, the landscape of education transformed with the emergence of learning analytics. This encompassed intelligent tutoring systems, personalized learning experiences, and active learning methodologies. These systems could gauge a student's progress and provide recommendations on subsequent topics to explore. It's like finishing a movie on Netflix and immediately receiving a suggestion for the next one. The difference here is all meticulously crafted for learning. Now we'll all encountered buzzwords like AI, machine learning, and deep learning. So I think it's important to go over what are these, just quickly see the differences and the similarities. So first up, AI. AI is all about machines acting like us, right? At its essence, computers are programmed to mimic human behavior, utilizing extensive data derived from analogous previous behavior. Next up, machine learning. Think of machine learning as training computer to recognize patterns. Instead of providing explicit instructions, now you supply abundant data, allowing it to learn independently. For example, by showing a computer many images of cats and dogs, it starts distinguishing the differences autonomously over time. It's similar to teaching a child to identify animals, but here the computer derives insights from the provided examples. Lastly, deep learning. Deep learning is like machine learning on steroids. Drawing inspiration from the working of our brain, deep learning excels in detecting intricate patterns, but in images, text, sounds, and when we talk about text, there are these massive computerized entities known as large language models. So think of these circles as to understand AI, machine learning, and deep learning in a different way. I'm not going to go over this because of the limited time, but The next slide also shows these three concepts in a chronological way. So observing these concepts, when we look at this graph and images, each advancement has really left an increasingly significant imprint in the world. So given this understanding of the AI trajectory, we can envision hospitals augmented with AI-powered machines. These machines don't seek to replace our dedicated nurses, rather they serve as valuable assistants. Now, previous nurses had only basic tools, but AI has ushered in faster, smarter alternatives. Take a look at this real-world image, mHealth tools for the individual. The wearables shown are more than accessories. They are equipped with advanced sensors, serving as lifelines that provide ongoing insights into patients' vital signs, ensuring we are proactive and ready to act when needed. Beyond monitoring, AI enhances administrative functions, optimizing shift schedules, and reconciling medications leads to mitigate errors, including offering real-time alerts regarding medication dosages, interactions, and administration. So in our role as nurses, both medical and communication tools are integral. It not only understands our interactions with our patients, but also automatically updates our records, capturing every detail meticulously. Generative AI operates much like an artist capable of creating creations such as images, music, or writing that appear human-made. So how does it accomplish this? Think of these as sponges. They assimilate extensive information and produce something analogous based on what they're observed. So the intriguing aspect here is the more diverse the data we provide, be it words, images, or more, the more adept they become. So believe me, they've been trained in a plethora of data. So who are the big names in generative AI? For image generation, you probably heard DALL-E 2. A week ago, I heard that now it's a DALL-E 3, just launched. And Stable Diffusion and Midjourney are at the forefront. In natural language processing, we have ChatGPT by OpenAI. How many of you are using ChatGPT? Just raise your hands. Oh, surprise, not many. All right, okay. So after this, after today, you may want to go in and check what ChatGPT is, right? Okay, so ChatGPT by OpenAI is designed to understand and generate human-like text based on the input it receives. And Bing Search, this is owned by and operated by Microsoft. This web search engine is exclusive to Microsoft Edge and accessible via dedicated web page or internally within the browser sidebar. And Bard, have you ever heard of Bard? Bard is supported by Google. And this is another generative AI tool and then the difference is this Google Bard is a collaborative AI service. So there are some differences between those three. So now let's go deeper into one common use of generative AI, chatbots. So if you chat, just generally we call chatbots, but if you use in education, we call edgebots. So the same thing, chatbots and edgebots. So chatbot is essentially a computerized conversationalist, interacting through text or voice, not only text, okay? Their human-like interaction is powered by AI and natural language processing, enabling them to comprehend and respond in a human-like manner. And again, ChatGPT stands out as a remarkable chatbot capable of engaging in exceptionally natural conversations. It has been trained with extensive internet-derived information equivalent to over 1.3 million books, or more than triple the text in the entire Library of Congress. And when interacting with chatbots, we utilize prompts to elicit responses. The art of crafting effective prompts is known as prompt engineering. It involves not just what is asked, but also how it's asked, aiding in refining the chatbot's learning and enhance its capabilities. So let's talk about how generative AI can be used in education. First, it offers prompt assistance to students when they encounter challenges and need to access resources very quickly. For research endeavors, it acts like an intelligent research assistant. When consolidating substantial information, it proves to be highly useful. Got a writing assignment? Yes, it can assist you there too. And after you're done, it's like having a proofreader check your work. When exams rolled around, it can help you get ready, and you can ask it questions about what you're studying, and it will give you all answers. And plus, it's handy for crafting all sorts of documents, even those like a clinical documentation. For our faculty members, we're using ChatGPT to craft policies. It's very, very handy because we're not experts in policies, but we start with a kind of draft policy from ChatGPT, and then we embellish based on that. So it's very, very useful. So as you can imagine, ChatGPT shines in many areas. As you can see here, it's great at understanding and using languages. It's a large language model, so it's not a surprise. And it retains dialogue. So when you put prompts, you don't have to repeat. You don't have to have it recall what I asked, right? It retains the information I put. So it's very smart. And also it's helpful for organizing thoughts, and it's handy for translating between languages. And it's very good at offering general knowledge and factual information, especially used for quick lookups, definitions, historical facts, and conceptual explanations. But on the flip side, ChatGPT does face certain challenges. A real-world understanding, of course, that's a problem, right? It lacks real-world understanding. It's not human intelligence, it's artificial intelligence. And also, minor alterations in phrasing can produce varying responses, leading to inconsistencies. So this means that whenever you ask some inquiries, they produce different answers, right? So that's why it's very hard to detect plagiarism, because it's unlike website, the data is right there and we can check. But when we get this information from ChatGPT, each time it's different. So that could be, well, it could be both sides, right? Pros and cons. But here I put in the cons. Handling ambiguity, it may have difficulty with ambiguous inquiries. So still, this is a computer, so we have to give very good prompts. So that's what we talked about, prompt engineering, right? And then, of course, ethical concerns. Like other AI models, ChatGPT may exhibit biases found in its training data, particularly on sensitive topics. So for example, as an example, we asked ChatGPT, can you tell us about Trump, President Trump? And the answer was, no, I'm not allowed to talk about Trumps, okay? And then, can you talk about Joe Biden? And then here you go, all the information about Joe Biden's were there. So obviously, human put all this data and human trained, so whatever human have the bias, it will be translated to ChatGPT. So we have to be very careful what kind of information we're getting at. To sum up, the primary limitations of ChatGPT here, you probably heard this term, hallucinations, a lot. So it's just presenting inaccurate and fabricate details. Instead of saying, I don't know, they just make it up. So that's a problem, big problem. And broken references. This is not website search, right? So they try and they said, can you give me all the references of this? They make up very good. So, and we can be very fooled out by their answers. So checking the accuracy is very, very critical. Also, again, bias, and this is pattern-based, so it seems like they're creative, but it's basically a pattern on the statistical model. So we have to understand these major limitations. So 2 notable studies explored the applications of ChatGPT in nursing. I think it's interesting to look at this. The first one was, can ChatGPT accurately answer a PICO question? And the results was suboptimal. ChatGPT provided seemingly plausible answers, but many aspects were incorrect, and some information was fabricated. That is hallucination, right? So it would be very, we have to be careful to use those in clinical practice. Another study delved into the potential of ChatGPT to support nursing students. The researchers presented students with a video on providing care for dementia patients. After watching the video, the students turned to ChatGPT seeking advice on effective communication with these patients. Students appreciated the promptness and the range of questions proposed by ChatGPT, but they yearned for caring and more empathetic responses. And also, they were wondered where is all the information coming from. So definitely, the evidence-based practice lacks there too. Okay, so reflecting on our discussion, we found ourselves equipped with this potent tool. But the question remains, how do we optimize its utility in the education landscape? Here, we need to explore capabilities, so we did some, right? And we have to educate ourselves and your students and colleagues about limitations. We did some here too. And established guideline is very important, particularly the biases that presents. And we have to very creative when it comes to using this tool in our curriculum. So these are some examples of how to maximize this tool in our education. Now, this model, the STRESS framework, is very easy to remember, so I put it there. So STRESS stands for systematic, transparent, and responsible, ethical, and skeptical. So when we use AI in education and research, you have to think about those 5 aspects. So as we can imagine, there are countless opportunities ahead. AI has the potential to really spice up learning opportunities and learning experience for our students. So think of it as a super assistant that can grade papers, manage attendance, and even whip up personalized learning experience for each student. So, and the cool part is it does the heavy lifting, allowing us to dedicate more of the time to crafting personalized learning experience for our students. But there are a few bumps in the road we need to watch out for. We've got to be super careful with things like privacy and security. And then there are ethical questions we need to wrestle with. And plus, it's totally normal, some of us, to feel a bit unsure or even a little resistant when using these tools. So we have to kind of anticipate this resistance as well. And of course, we can't forget about the dollars and cents. It's important to think about the financial side of getting AI up and running effectively in education. So how we can make sure AI fits seamlessly into our educational world? So here are some ideas. I think I have only 4 minutes left, so I'm not going to read this. But there's, you probably see the little font. There is an article regarding recommendations and opportunities and challenges. So I welcome you read my article there. And basically, the collaboration is key. I like to emphasize. We should team up with AI experts, those who are on the cutting edge. This way, we can keep our educational AI razor sharp. Okay, so I would say that AI is like microphone. It makes things louder and amplifies, but doesn't change the song. So it's a tool, and it's up to us how we use it. And we are at crossroads, and the choices we make will define the future of education. So as we wrap up this session, here are some valuable resources for you. The links are provided, so you can check it out. And we conclude today. I'd like to share an insightful quote from George Cross, my favorite educator. And technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers can be transformational. So I think this quote beautifully encapsulates the essence of our discussion, and it's a reminder that the synergy of great teaching and AI technology can lead to innovation and meaningful change in healthcare and education. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Diganie, for an insightful talk. And now, our last but not the least presenter. Our final presenter for this session is Dr. Sunhee Lee. Dr. Lee is a professor and the Dean of College of Nursing, Gachon University. She is an expert in evidence-based nursing and digital healthcare for older adults in the community settings. She is a board member of the GKNF Korea. So today she will be sharing her insights on digital healthcare for the elderly. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Lee.
Thank you for introduction. I'm Sunhee Lee, GKNF Director and Dean of Nursing College of Gachon University. I'm great honor to present to you about the digital healthcare in this area. My presentation is content for 5 parts: general digital healthcare and digital healthcare and nursing, and finally my experience. The first part is why we need digital healthcare. The Korean is elderly people is very fast increasing. Korea is expected to become the super age society by 2025. Digital healthcare can help the elderly to live independently, to facilitate healthy and successful aging, to increase quality of life. You can see the two lines, the upper line and lower line. The upper line shows the elderly with high digital literacy, and the next line is elderly with low digital literacy. In all areas such as finance, the education, healthcare, transportation, living, etc., elderly people with digital literacy can improve their quality of life. The post-industrial revolution promotes the development of a digital healthcare service that could be used in community care. From post-revolution, the paradigm shift occurred. The nursing intervention have changed from offline intervention to online intervention. Second part is what's the digital healthcare. Since 2010, telehealth, e-health, m-health has been replaced by digital healthcare or smart healthcare, which was more comprehensive meaning. Digital healthcare is divided into 4 categories: the hardware and software, and service and platform. I explained the content. The first example is artificial pancreas. The artificial pancreas is the device consists of glucose sensor and insulin pump and the algorithm that control it. It was developed to treat severe diabetes patient. The second one is a lower picture. It's developed to treat patient with severe apnea. Slim apnea treatment device analyze breathing pattern while the patient is sleeping. The device gently stimulating the airway and the muscle to help keep it open. The second category of digital healthcare is software. There are many kinds of software exist. The representative example of the second category is Watson for Oncology. Watson for Oncology is an artificial intelligence computer in which the data of patients are input. It suggests the proper treatment based on patient information. It also facilitates multidisciplinary care. This is the real screen of Watson for Oncology. And the third category is the service area. This is the example, diabetes mobile application service. After collecting patient information through the mobile apps, we can use it diabetes education and counseling. The last category of digital health is platform. Platform based on ICT enable to offer digitalization and management of clinical report, hospital report, and genetic information. We can optimal treatment for individual patient by new technology such as AI. Let me turn to our next part, digital healthcare in nursing. The introduction of digital healthcare in nursing field can bring substantial benefits. Nurse can conduct virtual visit over the internet and discuss patient outcome with other healthcare professionals through secure connection in real time to enable better personalized care and care coordination. Application of digital healthcare change traditional nursing practice in areas below: assessment part, health promotion, clinical intervention, and service organization. The assessment process is a fundamental part of healthcare in nursing. These are examples of assessment using ICT. Remote science posting, telephone triage, telemonitoring. Telephone triage is the process of managing patient call to office to determine the urgency of the medical issue and to provide the response required, the appropriate location if patient needed to be seen, and the timing of appointment scheduling. Second is the health promotion. Health promotion is also important in our nursing because it forms a key component of healthcare practice. These are examples of health promotion using ICT, health portals, and webcast, podcast intervention. Webcast and podcast is the simple live streaming of a presentation, health promotion meeting like this meeting, and the physical event from the host to much larger online audience, which allow users who want to watch or listen to the programs they want to choose and automatically subscribe to it. And third part is clinical intervention, such as consultation, care support, exercise, nutrition control, or psychological therapy can be done remotely through adopting ICT. The technology of service organizations, such as electronic health record, care system governance, and professional clinical network, has been used as a platform example. This platform is used for therapy delivery. Therapy delivery is ranged from the basic advice to progressive interactive assessment. I have an example. This is the care system governance example. Care system governance using the platform, it's possible to integrate deliver and govern service by, you can see the many kinds of data is welfare related information by 행복 이임 is a Korean word. And the second is the PHIS, the health center information, and many kinds of ICT device also have a data, ICT equipment information and local government information. The emergence of digital health will inevitably impact on nurses and their working lives. This new environment will require all nurses to demonstrate computer literacy to further understanding characteristics of ideal electronic patient record. And next part is evidence-based digital healthcare development. This slide shows the process of evidence-based nursing practice. As you know, I'm working on the National Collaborating Evidence-Based Center. So we can use this method by developing the new digital healthcare intervention, formulating PICO question and search the evidence, the critical appraisal of evidence, the data extraction and synthesis of results, applying the result. This is the procedure of telemonitoring for COPD patients. We developed this program by EBP method. This is the procedure of telemonitoring COPD patients through the evidence-based nursing process. Telemonitoring evaluates several parameters by using device at home. The information transmitted by device like a cellular phone at the hospital healthcare professional. And then healthcare professional can use this data, evaluate the information, provide education, conduct teleconsultation, which result in patient outcome improved. This one is a flow chart of such the evidence for telemonitoring COPD patient. This is the result of appraisal result by Cochrane method. We extract the data such as this patient severity and intervention content and monitoring index and outcome and so on. And finally, we synthesize the result. This is the result of meta-analysis. You can see the active integrated telemonitoring, which include the exercise, education, coping skill training, and online pulmonary rehabilitation. This kind of telemonitoring can reduce the ER visit than telemonitoring, simple telemonitoring only. And then we can see that result. Telemonitoring has proved more useful in reducing the number of emergency room visits with severe COPD patients, not the moderate, simple COPD disease. Based on this meta-analysis, we developed the ICT intervention, and we developed the integrated and comprehensive ICT intervention for eligible patients, severe COPD patients. And the next part is my final presentation. I searched the internet, prepare this meeting. So I try to share the current status of development of care robot for elderly patients in the community in the last 3 years. They were being developed in 3 types. I make the box. This type of robot type is in the blue box, this one. And you can see the door And second type of care robot is a dull type. And the final type, dull type is a red box. And the final is green box is a tablet type. There are three kinds of care robots. Care robots are getting more and more advanced. And I make the three box. The care robot from first generation to nowadays, they developed the second generation tablet or robot. While the first generation was just on emergency alarm service, just emergency call, but second generation have a sensor. So second generation is automatic emergency alarm service and short echo communication using sensors. But the third generation is more developed. Care robot include the interactive service that predict risks and using artificial intelligence, a premier speaker also said, and provide proactive preventive care service. Speaking of the third generation care robot, they have a two-way communication functions, and they identify a health status of elderly people by identify their voice, facial expression, and behaviors, and give advice to lifestyle change with the artificial intelligence. I have two examples. Care Predict is a two-way voice communication that was created in the United States in 2018. And it monitors health status in real time and analyzes related information to predict the health risk status. In addition, the right part, LEQ. LEQ Communicate also developed recently in Israel in 2018. It communicates in variety of expressive way through head and body movement. You can see the face shape light. They change the light color, and they head movement can move and change the colors and the tone of voice, tone of light tone. So they have many kinds of function. And video call and medication time reminder came by check by this tablet monitor. It suggests to elderly people a variety of activity, including gymnastics, yoga, social activities. Using this care robot, after discharging from the hospital, follow-up care will continue through the home care system and the local hospital leakage system. During hospitalization, patient can real check test result through the patient-centered communication. Finally, I would like to share the example of implementing non-face-to-face care robot service for elderly in community. I'm a primary investigator of this research. Before implementing the non-face-to-face service for elderly in Incheon area, is my Gachon University in Incheon area, provide pre-education on application uses to the target users, and conducted education sessions across multiple occasions to offer the more detailed, frequent introduction to the elderly people. And you can see the picture. User elderly are required to complete 6 designated missions daily, every day. Upon complete 2 days task, user can earn this kind of gold completion stamps. Elderly people very pleased. This get mark, and notification are the sent predetermined time to facilitate timely test completion. and administrator can verify the completion or not. This is the content of our intervention. First is the health note. Elderly individual can check their blood pressure, blood glucose, and weight measurement through connected tablet and Bluetooth. The information linked to the tablet can be accessed and viewed by administrator on the server. Our researcher can see the every time the monitor the elderly people's completion. Each category is presented in graph format, so allowing for clear visualization of the trend with a simple click on each page. Next one is listening to music button. Pre-survey was conducted to consider musical preference of 100 elder participants. Based on their preference, we select the music, the gospel hymn, the folk music, and popular song. The next third is a cognitive game. We make this game. We take a picture and make a draw. And cognitive game can use by clicking the cognitive game button. And playing cognitive games improves skill in areas such as calculation, language, memory, daily life, and spatial temporal abilities. Next button is a social community. Using this space, senior can posting their process of planting seeds. We distribute the seeds, tomato seeds to the elderly. They can raising the seeds and then they posting the seeds processing and the blooming of flower. And sharing everyday life moment, and senior can acknowledge and the button like a button. Then many actually, we are worried about their compliance, but many elderly people then participate in this activity. Next are radar sensor and smart band. Polling using radar installed in home and smart band, real-time monitoring of poll and emergency calls on the administrator and server, and we can deliver the text notification to registered caregiver and their son or their daughter. After intervention has ended, the older adult visiting the public health center for physical analysis, 인천 area 남동구 보건소, nurse can evaluate the poll efficacy and balance using scale, T-use test, and the leg muscle mass as by FRA. FRA is an instrument. Due to large number of elderly individuals having limited exposure to smartphone or tablet, they often face difficulties in using them. This highlights the need of additional in-person education to address their specific challenges. Face-to-face interaction can be more effective in motivating and engaging the participants in our research. Therefore, I suggest the combination of in-person and online method is considered they are more effective. And it's essential for nurses to understand the characteristic of elderly when developing a program that facilitate remote support for elderly in local community. To enhance usability of elderly people, it's necessary to consider perspective nurse's perspective rather than just develop a computer expert perspective, not perspective. So we can participate in developing the elderly digital healthcare intervention. Therefore, nurses have to have a good understanding of information and communication technology for digital healthcare in community. effective utilization of information and communication technology among the elderly population require mandatory communication training and emphasizing the need of integration into nursing education curricula. There is no doubt that ICT can contribute to the accessibility of elderly people, our patients who suffer from chronic illness. ICT is also helpful for social helper and nurse assistant to solve this kind of problem. Through international, this kind of meeting, international cooperation, we should work together to improve the health of local residents by sharing our experience of the domestic and international experience of digital healthcare. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Lee, for an excellent presentation. Now we've come to the end of our plenary session. So I would like to express my gratitude to all of our great presenters and participants. And we will now have a lunch session, which will be emceed by Dr. Seok Jung. So please enjoy the time. Thank you very much.
Hello, this is Seok Jung. 국제학회라 제가 영어로 좀 하고 싶은데 한국말로 하라고 하셔서 I'll use in Korean. Okay. 예. 안녕하십니까? 오늘 저는 런천 행사의 사회를 맡은 GKNF 이사인 전북대 간호대학 정석희입니다. 저는 20년 전에 제1회 First Scholarship Student입니다. 네, 그래서 미국 UIC에서 김미자 박사님의 멘토로 포스트닥토럴 프로그램을 하였고 20년이 지난 후에 이렇게 또 이 자리에 섰습니다. 이 자리를 빌어서 GKNF와 김미자 박사님께 깊은 감사드립니다. 한국에는요 식구라는 말이 있습니다. Family members. 예. 그래서 이 식구는 함께 식사를 해야 가족이라는 의미인데요. 오늘 이 런천을 통해 우리가 GKNF의 진정한 식구, 가족, 패밀리가 될 거라고 생각합니다. 오늘 우리가 한 식구가 되도록 오늘 300분의 점심을 트리트 해주신 아주 귀한 분이 계셔서 소개하고자 합니다. 사실 이게 퀴즈를 내려고 했었는데요. 아까 앞부분에 시상하시면서 저희 김우숙 교수님께서 약간 이렇게 스포를 하셔가지고 제가 소개해드릴 분은 잘 들어보셔요. 연세대학교 간호대학을 졸업하시고 미국으로 가셔서 간호사뿐만 아니라 전문 간호사의 널스 프랙티셔너를 실무에서 활동하셨습니다. 그런데 그 이후에 어마어마하게 큰 사업에 성공하셔서 그 큰 성공을 간호학 발전과 후학의 발전을 위해서 계속 같이 후원해주고 계시고요. 특히 또 미국의 유니버시티 오브 알라바마의 칼리지 오브 너싱, 또 너싱홀, 또 스칼라십을 계속 후원하고 계시고 아까 상을 받아서 알고 계시겠지만 20년 전부터 저희 GKNF 창립 때부터 지금까지 큰 후원을 하고 계십니다. 오늘 많은 귀하신 분이 계시지만 특별히 오늘 이분을 좀 모시고 싶으신데요. 오늘 드시는 여러분의 점심 식사는 한국 돈으로 3만 원 이상의 도시락을 후원해 주신 저희 최정자 선생님을 모시겠습니다. 참고로 도시락은 저희가 서빙해드릴 거라서 그냥 자리에 앉아 계시면 되겠습니다. 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. 선생님 잠깐 앞으로. 네,